The more you care, the more you prepare, period. And thinking is a part of that. You'd be surprised how many people are scared to think. Most of my arguments don't come from me pushing somebody physically. It's from me pushing them to think.
I think the truth is most important, and I think it's inexcusable not to tell it. And I think if there's something on your mind on a truthful level as a grown-up, you should be able to articulate that. And sometimes people don't like what you say, but it doesn't mean it shouldn't be said.
If I want something, I go into the future in my brain, which is powerful, and I visualize exactly what I want.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 to 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9 to 9. This one's for my top 10.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you as well. You've got Michael Jordan level talent at something. So get ready to have a vision, stand out, and love others before yourself with Dame Dash and my take on his top 10 rules of success to give you the confidence, motivation, and belief that you need. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule #1. Have a vision.
If I want something, I go into the future in my brain, which is powerful, and I visualize exactly what I want. So I'm there, I'm in my future. And then I think about every single thing I need to do to make that happen, and every single thing that could stop that from happening or what I need to avoid. Then I go right back. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like I was just in the future, thinking about watching myself on my television network. So because I do that, that means I have to think what would be the worst case scenario, and then I have to think what would be the best case scenario. And then I eliminate every single thing that I think could happen, which I call art detecting, and then I put everything and every single attitude and person around me in my vision that's gonna make me get to what I want. And also, I try to get the people around me to think about the same exact vision. So you inspire people and all that energy is focused on one thing that they can visualize in their head, then it becomes a tangible reality. And I know that to be a fact because it's happened. It's a fact for me. So I continue to do that. I know that anything I can imagine, I can make happen. So I am really careful about how small my thoughts are because I don't feel like wasting time in a 24-hour day making this much. And I could spend the same amount of time with the same amount of energy if I art detect it right. I had this much. And with this much, I can help so many more people that I love.
Rule #2, stand out.
People were just slaves to pattern. You know what I'm saying? Like if everyone does one thing, then everybody else wants to do it. And I'm a guy that never wants to, I never ever wanted to look like everybody else.
Right.
So my thing is I gotta stand out. I gotta be different. Or
That's some Harlem shit. Is that it?
I think it's just, it is. Because again, like when you make money really young,
Right.
it makes you really confident. And
Right.
sometimes people mistake it as arrogance, but like when you're in a circumstance where you have no choice but to grow up and it's very competitive, it wasn't like I was the only young dude getting money.
Right.
Everybody that was in my age in a certain circle was getting money, so it was normal
Right.
to conduct yourself like an adult, and then you were kind of guided by adults.
Right.
So I just got used to a different pattern really young, and it was more of a freedom pattern that came with the survival and wanting to be the best at it.
Rule #3, love others before yourself.
How is it being so-called so unpopular to make sure that others around you were popular?
The funny thing is, #1, I don't care.
Right.
But #2, I feel very popular at all times.
Right.
If I'm the thing that people don't understand, I'm not a rapper, I'm not a singer, I'm not an actor. I'm a businessman. So the fact that anyone even cares to me, whether they don't like it or do like it, on a business level or for a big picture guy, that's really all that counts. Like on a personal level, there's social classes, right? So there's one class that's meant to work for those that don't work. Yeah. And those that don't work are usually second and third generation. They're born into it. The reason why is those people own things and they pass it.
Yeah.
So what they do is they give another class, the working class, distractions, make them hate each other, make them want to do sports and only know how to do like what's lotto. Like we're only programmed to say the only way we could get out of a social class to be workers is to be athletes or to be entertainers. And that slot is like lotto. But even in school, they distract you and say, here's every team that can go professional, but there's no like political team. They never show you how to be a politician or how to change a law
or they have singing class and all this other, everything to distract you.
Yeah.
So, and that's lotto to win at that level.
Right.
So that means everyone that's trained their whole life to get there, which is 90% of the world, which is the working class, only 1% gets there. And that person that was an entertainer or is they get into the 1%, but only if they sell out and distract everyone else that they were a part of that helped them get where they got to go. And I'm just not down for that pattern. And it's strategic. It's not like, like the way nerds, people that aren't strong control, people that are strong, like, be like, whatever, like, you jump in front of me, I fight. But people that are weak, they have to be strategic about how they control. So brain controls muscle. And that's what's been happening. We've been controlled. We've been programmed to hate each other, kill each other, be happy to have a job, happy to work for someone else, and only happy to be able to take care of yourself. So everybody comes from a place of self-preservation. Everyone's always worried about themselves. And the purpose of love is to love people before you love yourself. But now, look at the way the system is set up. In school, they take your kids from you, and then they tell you, unless you go to college, and this is, the majority of the world, and the majority of the world is the working class. Unless you go to college, which you can't afford, unless you get a loan to go to college, you've done something wrong. So you go to college, you get that loan, and in order to pay off the loan, you got to get a job you don't want. And you still desperate. And in order to buy that house, because you paid that loan, you ain't got no cash. Now you got to get another loan to get the house. Yep. And so you always have to be working from backwards. You always have to be worried about yourself. And what I find when I'm around desperate people is they're all right with I got to do what I got to do to eat. They sometimes justify doing things that are not honorable to survive. So, everyone's always in a place of fear, a place of backpedaling and self-preservation. And that's the problem. The test is to love others before you love yourself, and that's what a real boss does. The test is to think about the future, not the present. Your present is only dictated by what you did in your past. So you got to start planning. It's chess, not checkers.
Rule number 4, don't be a culture vulture.
What is your definition of a culture vulture?
A person that makes money from the culture but doesn't live the culture. A person that doesn't help the culture that they're making money from. A person that intentionally hurts the culture so that they can monetize it. A person that takes care of their children based on somebody else's work and their labor and makes them think they have more than they do so that they can continue to work for them. A person that makes you believe you're dependent on them, that you need them to get from point A to point B just so you can monetize it. That's a culture vulture. And that could be black, white, whatever. There's black culture vulture, there's white culture vultures, there's every kind of nationality. And the worst culture vulture is the one that does it within his own supposed culture. That's the one that's the devil, because he's pretending to be something he's not, and that's cheating.
Also, if you want to have more confidence, check out my 254 series. They're free. The links to join are in the description below.
The one thing you have to really never do is compare yourself to other people.
Absolutely.
That's the one thing you can't do is judge your success to someone else's.
Rule number 5, don't be afraid of the unknown.
What I tell my staff and everyone that works with me is, the more you care, the more you prepare, period. And thinking is a part of that. You'd be surprised how many people are scared to think. Most of my arguments don't come from me pushing somebody physically. It's from me pushing them to think. I'm like, God damn, you don't want to think? Like, that doesn't eat, like, it's harder to run a mile than to think. So why is it less scarier to work out than to just think? And it doesn't take any physical effort. It's about a perspective. Why are people so scared of the unknown? Just because you don't know an answer. Like, Google was so foreign to me up to a couple years ago, as surprising as that may seem. But Raquel, who's wifey for lifey, remembers the moment that I was like, holy shit, I could find out everything all this time. All I would have had to do was look, and I would have seen how easy it was. But because it was unknown in the moment, I thought it was complicated. How many times do you get a remote control and it does 3 million things, but just because you don't know how, you can't figure it out, you're like, f all those other things. Even though if you look at it, it will make life a bit easier.
Rule number 6, have a purpose.
My purpose was to let everybody else eat that wasn't eating that deserved to, and to bully the bully, oppress the oppressor, and always give us self-awareness. Not one second that I was in the music industry did I ever act like I wanted to be with the people that were exploiting the artists.
Right.
The problem always was with the executives was I was like, nah, you're not doing that to the artist. And then, what an executive will do is play dirty and snarky and go start lying and do things that you wouldn't do or expect to do, and they just start to make a division between you and the person you're protecting by saying you'll get more money by not listening to them, when actually that money goes to them.
Rule number 7, be truthful.
I think the truth is most important, and I think it's inexcusable not to tell it. And I think if there's something on your mind on a truthful level as a grown-up, you should be able to articulate that. And sometimes people don't like what you say, but it doesn't mean it shouldn't be said.
Right.
So, 9 times out of 10, a man that's full of testosterone, and in front of girls, if you tell them how to improve himself or give him some instructive criticism, they tend to take that as you trying to make them look bad because they want to look better than you.
Rule number 8, be honorable.
I decided to hit the street because I just wanted to buy a Suzuki. They cost $10,000 and I didn't have a license, and my mother didn't want to buy it for me because it wasn't legal. So I was like, well, I'm just got to get that myself. And, crack came out. So I was watching a lot of people my age have things that adults had, which gave them a certain amount of independence. Like, if you're paying your own bills, I don't care how old you are, no one can tell you what to do, period. And that's what I tell any one of my children. The minute you pay your own bills, all I can do is give you advice, but I can't control your environment. So when I got to this place, the only way to survive was honor. And what I witnessed, I admired. I admired the strength in honor because honor isn't convenient. It's not, I'm honorable when it's easy. Honor comes when it's not easy. That's your definition. That's the test. That's what defines you, is when you have the choice to not be honorable and it would appear that you'll get something and life may be easier. And if you choose honor and you choose a harder path, well, you know which you really are. And that's what that is all day. It's a test all day. There's always these shortcuts. But the thing about being in that life is you make one mistake, you die. You make one mistake, you lose your life in jail, your freedom. You make one mistake, people you love get hurt, like kidnapped and tortured. So logically speaking, to survive that, you had to be honorable. And I saw the things that the honorable, the respect that came with it, the strength that came with it, and how cool it looked. I just didn't want to be anything but that, no matter what. And everyone that's practiced that, my friends 20, 30 years later, like in Honor Up, that's really my OG. That's really the guy that taught me those principles. That's the voice I heard it from. And imagine 30 years later, him being able to say, I told you, be honorable and you'll get this. And it happened for him, it happened for me, and all the other people that have lived honorably. So there's truth in believing in honor, and I can say it by experience. And I also can see the lack of honor, the things that I came up on that are so different, that how much people look the other way, how many people actually fail that test, and the recourse of that. The unhappy life that comes with the perception of being happy, of looking like you have more than you do, or that you're smarter, tougher, richer, funnier, or anything that you pretend you are and you're not. Because it tortures that person. They all look for an escape, whether it's a drug or any kind of addiction, to just not face and look in the mirror. To not to be able to look at yourself in the mirror or take that shower, that must suck. But I don't know how that feels. I know how it feels to have no conscience, to look in the mirror, be alone, and be like, I'm real happy about every single decision I made.
Rule number 9, be respectful.
A bunch of unthorough people, 1 million unthorough people can't do nothing to one thorough person. I don't care what it look like. I'm here. And I look better than everybody else that been talking about. I'm doing better than everybody else that been talking about me. And I've been fighting on my own. It ain't no announcements. I give you that work. I don't even have to be liked and I'm still here. Or it might be look like I'm not liked, but they still buying it. See, in the street, you don't like the drug dealer. You like his drugs. You don't care if he's nice. You don't care. He doesn't promote his drugs. He's not saying thank you for buying. He says, get in line. I'm not taking 5s, only 20s. And if you talk too cute to me, I won't sell it to you at all. Now get out of here. You don't have to be nice when your work is good. You just have to be honorable and respectful. And the people I'm not nice to deserve it.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is be independent.
The reason why people take jobs is because they got to pay their bills. Right. But me, like, I don't mind paying bills a little late. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to own it. I'd rather struggle a little. You know what I'm saying? If it's late, it's late. But when I got it, I pay it. You know what I'm saying? And I pay a lot of it. So, it's just like the difference between corporate and like an individual is corporate has money to lose. So in any business, you lose money for like 10 years. That's what happens. It's because you have a big pocket. So you could lose it and be comfortable. Like anybody could buy a celebrity, but how much profit are you really making? It's like walking up to a dice game and you got the most money in your pocket and you just keep stopping the bank. So you might lose, but you keep betting it all. You lose, and then when eventually a head crack is going to happen or you're going to ace, you're going to win, get all your money back and be up. That's business. But, you know, corporate, you have a pocket. It's not their money. It's a fund. They go get other people's money. It's stock. It's public. So they can lose. Like when like business plans, they'll be like, lose $2 million for this year, lose $2 million, like 10 years to lose. If you have a deep pocket for that, you could be in corporate business. But an independent doesn't have that kind of money to lose. Right. You understand what I'm saying? They can't just take losses. You can't just be hiring people, paying them, and you ain't making no money. Right. You understand what I'm saying? You count everything when you're doing it independently. But so what? You know? Not to say Castro's virtues and what he believed in as far as, you know, the communism thing, but he basically said, F it, I'm going to be independent. Right. And I'll just do it myself. I'll just be a little behind, but, you know, independence is priceless.
Now I have a special bonus clip from Dame on how to win by your standards that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Let's go from just watching a video to taking action. Here we go. Question number 1. Where do you need to be more independent? Number 2. What's the unknown that you need to stop being afraid of? And number 3, how will you stand out this week? And if you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Give me a hashtag believe down in the comments as well.
The win should be when you have won by your standard, by not someone else's. Because people are generally like insecure, and people generally look the other way. They do things that are illogical, and they all have their own set of problems. So everyone considers a win different. So why would I consider my win something that makes you happy? I'm gonna consider my win something that makes me and my family and my kids and my girl happy. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to look like I'm rich to make you happy. I need to be rich.
Right.
So guys think they're rich because they might have monetary, like very, very like temporary money that they could take care of themselves.
Right.
But that's not rich. Rich is being able to take care of your kids' kids.
Right.
Being able to make it where your generation or the generation after you doesn't have to go through the same problems as you did.
If you want to see the top 10 I did on Dua Lipa, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
There's one thing about being lucky, and there's one thing about being in the right place at the right time, but I never feel like those things happen unless you really work for it.